Yes, how are you?
Hi, Sabina. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome, everybody, to our very first podcast, Who Moved My Marketing? So, where did you take my marketing, Naz?
I thought I had it around here somewhere, but somehow the last couple of years, I've not been able to find marketing. It's just kind of all over the place. It's under the desk, it's in somebody else's office.
Yeah,
I don't really know, but I think you and I can try to help each other find the marketing that we're looking for.
awesome, awesome. Well, I just love how we got together because we were actually on a panel discussion a few weeks ago. I've only known you for maybe a month max, and we are now doing our own podcast. And it was just based on the conversations that you and I have been having. And we realized that there is a need for some kind of a discussion on the latest and greatest trends that are happening right now in the B2B marketing space. And I say trends because it is positive. It's a positive movement that everyone kind of needs to take a look at and to really kind of sit down and kind of maybe even think of what's happening. Um, Especially with AI coming into the mix. I mean, that's what our panel discussion was about a few weeks ago was how is AI impacting marketing and our day-to-day jobs? And so I really love how we are going to bring this to light in this podcast series.
Yeah, I think absolutely. It was such a great occasion for me to meet you at the AI virtual meeting. And yes, we have not met each other in person yet, but I'm sure that will happen sometime in the future. But you're right. It's I'm a fractional marketing person, and I believe you do the same thing as
Same.
well. We have our own special areas of focus, but at the same time, we both know enough about the different aspects of marketing based on our experience that whenever we talk to clients and we talk to other marketing people, we realize that everybody seems to be dealing with the same type of challenges. There's a lot of sort of shifting and changing that is going on all around us. Definitions are changing. What you mean by demand gen versus growth may be different to different people. And how does AI impact the organizational structure going forward? And even people come to me to have a conversation about demand generation for their particular company, but we end up quickly switching to other topics that are more strategic because everybody's still trying to figure out exactly who belongs to what group and what is it that different people do, and we still kind of we're seeing that there's a lot of different things that are happening. So I thought it was perfectly natural for you and I, because of our particular opportunities, that we've been able to sort of take a step back after being in corporate world for as long as we have, to sort of think about all these different challenges and issues that are going on all around marketing, and to be able to sort of take a broader look. And even between the two of us, we saw a lot of alignment in terms of
Mhm.
what we think is maybe some solutions out there that maybe people would love to hear about.
Yeah, and I think that's where this comes in. And, that's kind of how this all got started was being in corporate for so long, I realized I got sucked into the day to day and I just couldn't really bring in the value that I wanted to the organization by looking at the bigger picture. I was just so focused on what needs to get done today, what needs to be delivered tomorrow, and how do we keep moving forward instead of really taking a step back and saying, what is going to really make us a differentiator in our industry? And what is it that's really going to take us ahead? Because I just didn't have the time to do so. And so now I feel like you and I can actually bring to light to a lot of CMOs, a lot of CROs that are out there and say, have you thought about this? Because this is what we're seeing. This is what we're reading. This is everybody's reading about something, everybody's talking about something, but nobody's really taking the time to really dig in. And I think you and I have that opportunity to really bring a lot of these topics to light, or at least give some thinking points of how folks can move forward
Yeah.
with trying to get their organization to the next level. I think the biggest one is, how is AI impacting our organizations today? What does the organization look like tomorrow with virtual program managers, virtual SDRs, not having a human interaction between a prospect and a customer? I don't know what this looks like. And I think you and I are really gonna have fun talking about some of these things. And you and I may not agree on everything, but I think that's okay. I think this is gonna be the fun part about this whole discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, different perspectives always are welcome. And that's one of the things that I'm hoping for as well, is that we get some feedback from people with their input, and they can tell us what they want to hear about, and also what is their perspective on everything that we're talking about, so that we could kind of hone our conversations around what people are concerned about, or even their perspective of how they see things develop in their environment. And I just wanted to kind of reiterate everything you said, because I completely agree 100% with everything you said in terms of being an executive in a company, what our experiences were. You are sort of the strategic person, you are the tactical guru, you are the customer whisperer, you're the verifier, you're the approver, you're the brand owner, you do everything and everything under the sun. And At the same time, you're supposed to be a coach and a someone who actually is an inspirational leader. And of course, you can imagine how much time that leaves you with. So that's one of the reasons we started talking about. We do have some ideas about what are some of the particular solutions that may be out there, or like you said, at least talking points or conversational pieces that we can address some of these things and see where things go. But the reason that we chose a 10 or 15-minute podcast was because we both listen to a lot of different podcasts. People are putting 45-minute, 50-minute, an hour, sometimes even an hour and a half long podcasts that are very well done. They're, they deep dive into a lot of these different topics. But for me, it took me like a week and a half to listen to an hour and a half podcast, because I had to chop it up into pieces in order to be able to listen to the whole thing. And by the time I get to the end of it, I've already forgotten the beginning part of the podcast. So it was a little too much. So I thought, you know what? And you and I both talked about this. Why don't we make this a little bit shorter? And maybe it's 10, maybe it's 12, maybe it's 15 minutes. Maybe sometimes we have special topics that we could go a little bit beyond that and dive in a
Yep.
little bit more. We can have guests that we can talk about those kind of things. But we thought that in the beginning, that really should be plenty of time for someone who's really busy to be able to just sit down, listen to a 10-minute, 15-minute podcast, and just have some takeaways. If someone runs into them and asks them, hey, have you thought about the new org structure in consideration of the AI, or something about the difference between growth and demand gen, and ask someone, what do you think and how do you approach it? At least you've been exposed to it through these conversations that we're having. And, maybe that would be helpful.
I agree. I agree. And I think it is, if there's something that we need to do a deeper dive on, maybe our audience can let us know and say, hey, can you go into a little bit more detail? We love that. Or we can start these conversations on LinkedIn as well and say, okay, we just talked about this. What do you guys think? And we would love to have that, and we can bring that into our next discussion and kind of go a little bit deeper in. But I think this is great. I don't have the bandwidth, nor do I have the attention span, to be honest with you, to listen to a podcast longer than 20 minutes. I really don't. I just can't do it. So therefore, I'm really trying to keep this just to that point as well. We're really hoping that, we can get these kinds of topics out in front of everyone. And so, just to give you guys an idea of what we're looking at what is the differences between growth marketing and demand generation? You know, do you need a growth marketing strategy? Do you need a demand generation strategy? Are there differences? And what does that actually mean? We're going to be talking about kind of the evolving marketing landscape from an organizational standpoint, considering AI is here to stay and it is going to help us and augment our jobs, not really take them away. And we really truly believe that. Um, what else? What else are we going to talk about, Maz?
Oh, I think I think some of the things that are interesting is the evolving role of a CMO, and especially in lieu of the CRO function, and how does that work in organization? Uh, and you also talked about demand gen versus growth, and I just want to throw that out there as well, that the size of the organization actually demands a different business model in some cases, and we're going to talk about that as well. And I think one of the other things I wanted to just briefly touch on is the role of communities. I think a lot of people are also considering communities as a way of connecting with their audience, and whether they're prospects or customers. But there are some really cool things, some interesting things that are happening in that space. You may be surprised to hear about some of them, but I think that would be a great topic to also throw that out there and talk about it.
I can't wait. I can't wait. I know we're coming up on our 15-minute timeline, so I'll say we can't wait to see you guys on our next episode. We will be
Oh, before we
talking
go,
about,
before
oh,
we go, we have to do another. We got to introduce ourselves because I think people might want to know where you and I have been and what we've done. So
ah,
maybe we could do a little bit of an intro before we actually say goodbye.
I love that. Why don't you go first, Maz? Where have you been?
Sure. So I've been in marketing for more than 20 years. About 10 years of that has been involved with products, product marketing, product management. The other 10 years been in marketing operations, demand generation, and consulting. I've worked with startups and big brands as well. And I've done marketing strategy, building demand gen campaigns, and helping the company grow their revenue. One of the things that I like to do is working with the founders of startups or the executives that are responsible for growth within the company, and just really kind of figure out what's the right approach, and then roll up my sleeve and just go to work and figure out exactly how we can achieve the target goals that the company sets out. So yeah, I've worked for companies like DoorDash and BBVA USA. I worked at C3 AI. I worked at Gap Inc. So those are some of the companies that I've been with, but there's too many to mention, so I'll just stop right there.
Sounds good. Well, with your 20 years and with my 25 plus years of experience as well, I myself have been in B2B marketing, working for big companies like Intel and SAP, and then more smaller companies. I actually was one of my favorite roles, I have to say, was a company called Trazers, where I learned so much being their head of marketing. We didn't even have a product on the market yet. So really bringing in lead number one was one of the biggest accomplishments that I could say, okay, I didn't have a database to start with. I actually brought in lead number one. But I really started with more of the lead generation, demand generation, and grew myself into a growth marketing expert and really looking at full funnel strategies. So I went from corporate to consulting about a year and a half ago and I love every minute of it. I haven't brought in a dollar, but I still love what I do. My husband even tells me, "Oh my God, Sabina, you are so much happier than you've been in your whole career." And it's so true because I'm actually finally getting to do what I love to do. And that's talk about growth marketing and about the differences between the strategies and how ready are startups and mid-sized companies when they are trying to grow their business and to really sustain what they already have. So I love it. I'm hopefully you guys will see the energy coming through between Maz and myself on how we just love to talk about it. Um, and we will be here, trying to be here on a weekly basis if we can. If not, we will definitely let you know. Please connect with us on LinkedIn, and we will definitely keep you informed when our next podcast goes live.
Okay, great. Thanks, Sabina. And I can't wait till we do this again soon.
Same. I can't wait. Talk to you soon, Maz.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.